Platner just revealed the Democratic Party's emerging midterm agenda: permanent resistance. Platner won the Democratic nomination for the U.S. Senate in Maine by roughly 72% of the vote. So he survived, as every voter has seen across America, months of damaging stories involving online comments, explicit messages, a Nazi tattoo, and continuing later to uncover that there have been serious allegations involving the treatment of women, multiple women. Platner has denied these allegations of physical abuse, but the most revealing part of this is his statement of his campaign. And it had nothing to do with the scandals, nothing to do with what Americans were hearing about the man he is. It was his explanation of what Democrats should do if they regain power in Washington. Platner said Democrats need a theory of power.
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to understand that the Democratic Party needs to form a theory of power.
And then he went on to describe it: use committee hearings, use investigations, and use subpoenas. Haul Trump administration officials before Congress day after day after day to halt any progress. Keep the White House so occupied that it cannot function, that it strictly can only respond to these subpoenas and these hearings.
We need to use the power we get to shut this White House down. We do that, I think one of the best ways is through committee hearings and investigations. I want the Trump administration not to function because everyone in the White House is being hauled under subpoena in front of a Senate committee day after day after day. But we need to get people into office who have a theory of power and who understand that the purpose of power isn't just to have it, it's to use it.
And that deserves a lot of attention because Platner is actually selling Democrats a governing philosophy that's built around paralysis. Resistance used to be a reaction just to Donald Trump, but now resistance is becoming the product of the Democrat Party. This is the Democratic midterm pitch that's taking place right here, and it's revealing in real time. Give us power and we can stop the other side from using theirs. And once that becomes the goal, the standards for candidates, everything starts to change. And you saw this firsthand. Congressman Ro Khanna actually gave us the clearest example. Khanna called Platner's conduct misogynistic, shameful, and wrong.
And I want to be clear, his actions were misogynistic, they were shameful, they were wrong.
When he was asked, though, whether he believed Platner's accusers, again, he doubled down. He said yes.
Years ago, the mantra was believe all women. Do you believe her?
Yes. And I don't think our side should be attacking her. And I appreciate her courage from coming forward.
But then Ro Khanna continued to support Platner. So just listen to the sequence I laid out. Ro Khanna condemns the behavior. He said he believed the women. Then he explained why Platner still deserved the Senate nomination and Democratic support. That is the moral waiver that Democrats are allowing for today. That's the real standard because the candidate still remains useful. The red line continues to move because Democrats believe this Senate seat in Maine is way too valuable to lose. And the waiver is granted because Platner's promises are becoming a weapon against President Trump and the entire administration. So that's the larger political angle that we're looking at. Trump did not just reshape the Republican Party. President Trump changed what Democratic voters reward. For years, remember, Democrats accused Republicans of saying voters are overlooking controversy because they wanted a fighter. But now a growing part of the Democratic base actually appears to be making its own version of that bargain, their own version of the fighter. The baggage becomes easier to excuse when the candidate promises confrontation, and that's exactly what Platner is promising. The warning signs become easier to rationalize when the candidate channels anger and rage. Again, that's what Platner is promising. And the normal standards of political conduct start to look negotiable when the candidate offers a path to power for Democrats. And voters have already seen the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, right? Look at the rise today. When you sit back, voters have watched Bernie Sanders build a national movement. They've watched AOC continue to become part of the most recognizable voices in Congress and the Democrat Party. So voters are watching this entire progressive caucus push the party towards a larger role in government, whether it's in healthcare, economy, or daily life. I mean, this is where the party is going, and Americans understand what a leftward ideological shift really looks like. Platner is just signaling what that next phase is. Progressive policy is giving ways to institutional warfare. That's what Platner's promise is. The campaign promise is no longer simply a larger government, which is what Democrats have promised in the past. It is a government consumed by subpoenas, hearings, investigation, and again, paralysis. Now, let me be clear. Investigations are important. Congressional oversight is legitimate. No president, no politician, nobody is above the law. If there's evidence of wrongdoing, Congress has the duty to investigate and make sure that the American people see the accountability. But what Platner is promising is the conclusion before the investigation even begins. Platner's actually nailed something. The frustrations are real. Cost of living is real as people are pushing on affordability. There's distrust with Washington. And a lot of Americans believe the political system has actually stopped listening to them a long time ago. So there's frustration and distrust. And this is what Platner understands best. He speaks to the anger. He speaks to voters as being a disruptor. He actually sounds like a weapon aimed at institutions that voters already distrust. That's why he got 72% of the vote. But public anger can be channeled into reform, or it can be weaponized into political warfare. A healthy political party actually gives voters a reason to believe that life will improve if one party wins a seat or regains power. It offers an agenda, and Platner is actually offering something more combustible. He's promising to make Washington stop working, and Democratic leaders are showing us how much they're willing to do to overlook in exchange for that promise. Graham Platner is really a test, a midterm test, a Democratic Party test. The party just revealed its answer. When the Senate seat is valuable enough, the standards will continue to move. The goalpost will move. Everything is movable. When the candidate promises permanent resistance, the moral waiver completely appears. And when Donald Trump is the target, political warfare now becomes the agenda and the goal. Maine is giving the country a preview of the midterms. Resistance is the product, and the moral waiver is going to be the price. And at the end of the day, control of Congress will be the delivery system, and the choice is up to the voters in Maine.